took those notes to another level. They just like, no one had really made them part of the groove. They were just kind of incidentals before that. Like, oh yeah. But they were like, you know, they made it like so pronounced, and the snares were cranked so you could really hear every ghost note. And I like to accentuate the ghost notes and make them part of the groove. Sometimes, not all the time. You know, it can sound weird if you push them too hard, but I like to pull them up a little louder than other people to kind of make the groove feel more 3D and kind of have it thicker. You know, there's a lot of different levels going on, volumes. All right, so that's Clyde and Jabo, and Zigaboo Model E's from the meters. Please go into some meter stuff. Play along. Learn those grooves exactly. Just for fun. You know, they're weird. They're simple. One of my favorite Zigaboo grooves is this one. I forget the name of the tune. Just like that one open hi-hat every time, and it just sounds so good within the song, you know. So he's a beat creator. Get into Zig. Bernard Purdy, you know, have you all seen the video? You know. Oh! Yeah. Something my mom and my dad and I would sit around the dinner table and just laugh our asses off, just watch over and over that Bernard Purdy video and get, you know, the Aretha Franklin live at the Fillmore. That's the one that, you know, Purdy is just on fire. And yeah, he's just a wealth of information. Of course, the Steely Dan stuff and all that too. And his solo stuff, Bernard Purdy's solo records from the 70s. Hard to find, but they're on YouTube. And they're so funky, they're incredible. A lot of reverb on the drums, but that cool late 60s reverb, you know. Dennis Chambers, we already talked about. Tasmanian Devil, Hurricane, Force of Nature, Power. Steve Ferroni from the Average White Band. I was 21 trying to fill his shoes. He was with Tom Petty. At the time, he left Average White Band to do Tom Petty. And I just tried to do justice. I had to listen to Person to Person Live. It's an Average White Band live record from 1976 or something, the year I was born. And that record is incredible. And, you know, it's so funky. And he does simple stuff that I will never not go back to and try to relearn. Little John Roberts, you know, he kind of had that New Jack Swing, late 80s, 90s. Super, you know, proud, strong, hip-hop drummer. Like the first hip-hop drummer I ever met. Like, this dude can play everything. Play Latin, swing, but he is choosing hip hop, the music of the day, you know, to be that kind of drummer, and no one had really done. It's like pre-Questlove. He's from Philly, and Questlove like definitely knew about Lil Jon, you know, coming up, you know, and yeah, he's just, you know, he took me under his wing. It's good to take people under your wing and help them out, you know. And let people help them cut corners sometimes, you know. But yeah, Mike Clark and Dave Garibaldi, you don't always have to play 2 and 4 on the snare. Their lesson is like, kind of be creative with that snare, and don't feel you have to be forced. You go. So it's still funky, it still feels good. You're just moving the accents around a little bit, having fun with the accents. So I think that's their lesson to everybody, like, you know, don't feel you have to be boxed into a certain thing, and obviously play what the song calls for. You don't want to throw that on a ballad, rock ballad, you know. But always think about, you know, maybe I might be able to move this accent a little bit or something like that. And this is the last page, this is it. These are new guys. I want you guys to check these guys out. Brian Collier, Collier. He lives in LA. He's on Instagram. He's phenomenal. His groove is untouchable, and he plays like gigs all over LA and all types of situations. Just one of those professional drummers. He'll always work because his groove is incredible. Devin Trusclair was in Dumpster Funk. Y'all know about Dumpster Funk, right? From New Orleans. Right down Dumpster Funk. And Devin Trusclair is the drummer from that, and he actually just left to go to Tank and the Bangers, which is another New Orleans funky band, which y'all would dig. So if you see Tank and the Bangers coming, you know, playing anywhere, you gotta go, because Devin is tearing it up. And he's got the most amazing facility and strength, but like poise and groove aware, just all the things, you know, all the things. There's this guy, Wes, Got My Own Sound. He's also on Instagram that I watch a lot. We've become friends. I'm hitting people up in their DM. You know, I'm straight up. I'm just like, what's up? You know, like, you're killing, you're amazing. Let's be friends. And a lot of the time it works. You know, Wes is one of those guys. You know, he does these like really cool like. Like he's playing the groove, but he's putting all these cool things around it. And I love the way he does it. It's so drum machine-esque type style. But then he also plays go-go, which is my other favorite kind of music. DC, Washington, DC. It's a beat. The city has a beat, and that's the beat of the city. Just like New Orleans has the second line beat. And yeah, certain cities have a groove. And it's fun to like, every time we go to Minneapolis and we start playing Prince stuff because we just can't help it, because you can feel the purple in the air in Minneapolis. And so, you know, pay attention to the regional grooves. And, you know, YouTube is kind of homogenizing everything. It's like it's all one thing. But when you travel and go places and you search out the locals and you start hearing some like, oh, that's the style of this place or the style of that place. And I'm into that kind of stuff.
Deitch, who's your favorite go-go drummer? He asked back here.
My favorite go-go drummer? Buggy. Bugge. He does actually a go-go clinic on YouTube. He's an older guy, and you can tell, I don't even know if he knows what paradiddle is, but he sure knows how to be funky. And that's way more important to me.
Cope.
What's that?
Citizen Cope was his band. He played in Citizen Cope.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, yeah, I know he was in like a couple different very, you know, popular go-go bands in the city. Ricky Wellman played with Miles Davis. He's a go-go drummer. Like, he brought so much. Like, just real triplety, super triplety vibe to Miles. And Miles was like, that's the new groove. Like, you're in my band. Like, you know, Miles was hip to everything. And he knew all the new beats coming out. You know, so I always think of, like, what would Miles think of this groove? Or what would Miles think of that groove? That sort of thing. So, yeah, check out Buggy and Ricky Wellman for the go-go stuff. JT, his name is JT. He's from Dallas, and he's incredible. And he plays with Mark Lettieri. He plays with Snarky Puppy. Kind of like, you know, everyone knows Larnell. You know, Larnell's a legend out here. I think people should listen to JT, man. He's got that funk. He's so incredible, and he's so chill, and he's not into any pyrotechnics or flipping sticks or any of that stuff. He is laying it down, and is mean and nasty and incredible. So I love JT. Nikki Glaspie, y'all know Nikki?
Yeah.
That's right. That's my sister. I was already playing with the Lettuce guys at Berkeley, and we were starting to get something together. And then 2 years later, like, she showed up, and she took over the whole school, and she was killing right from the get-go. My mom's a drummer, a professional drummer, so like I was so happy to see, you know, a female come in and just tear all the dudes up, you know, just with the groove. Like, no one hit harder or could take better solos than her. Like, still, like, it's just incredible what she does. So yeah, those are just like some newer drummers that don't get talked about. And thank y'all for listening to all that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're going to take a 5-minute break, and if anybody wants to grab a drink, then we'll have a little Q&A session.
Cool. Yeah, I just want to do like 3 questions or something like that. If you want to do anything, go ahead.
How did the butterfly quintet come up? Quintet?
Yeah.
Yeah, how did that come about?
Butterfly Quintet is another one of my 11 bands that I started during the pandemic, because Lettuce wasn't on tour and I really wanted to do something. I was going crazy, and I was like, wow, who's in Denver? Like, who do I know? And, you know, the sax player, Dom from Big Gigantic, who normally plays in an EDM DJ group, but he's an amazing jazz saxophone player. And then Boram Lee is my brother from Break Science, which is my electronic group. And he's actually a great jazz pianist. And so we started this group just coming up with like funky jazz fusion tunes, and now it's morphed into like this like house music, live house music, jazz project. I don't even know where it's going. It's going somewhere. I'm just letting it go. I'm not fighting the direction.
Okay, like what's the future on that kind of thing?
What's that?
What's the future on that project?
Yeah, we have the 3 tracks recorded for the new album, and they're slamming. And I'm in the writing process right now. For trying to, you know, they already turned down 2 of them, so I got to keep going. You know, it never ends. But I think they did like the 3rd one I sent, so I think I'm getting there. My percentage is getting better. Yes. Go ahead.
I've noticed some of the grooves you play, your left hand, when you're playing a rim shot or not, you're often, say, resting it on the rim. Sort of thing, or sort of rocking it back and forth sometimes. What's that
Yeah,
like?
that's a great question. When I'm doing this certain beat with James Brown, I was taught by Homer Steinweiss, who's a drummer from the Dap Kings. I ended up playing with the Dap Kings for a whole summer because Homer didn't feel like touring or something. And I had a rehearsal with the Dap Kings in Brooklyn. Sharon Jones and the Dap Kings, please write this down if you don't know who they are. Sharon Jones, real soul music, but made in the 2000s. And they made sure they had all the gear and recording equipment from 1967. And so when you hear it, you cannot decipher it from a record from that era. And they're really serious about playing that era specific only and listening to it only. They've immersed themselves. And so Homer taught me, you know, instead of getting off it after you get a rim shot, he was like, the old days they would flatten it down, you know, especially if you had a ringy snare. It's like a self-detonating thing. And I had to learn how to do it because I was so used to getting off, bouncing, and it was so hard. It was like, yeah, they had some fast tunes. And like, he really wanted that space. But to get the that ga, but between 4 and 1, there's just air. And I was so used to going, like filling that up. And he was like, nah, you gotta have that air there before the 1 to make the 1 more drastic so people know where it is. He just like really hit me to a lot of concepts about that kind of stuff. So yeah, that's one way to do it. And you know, with Lettuce, I rarely choke the drum. I'm hitting. I kind of keep it. I took a lesson with Dave Garibaldi when I was 12, and he told me about stick heights. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, well, your accents are here, your in between accents are here, and you have just and then the tip. And it just like had me thinking about that. I was 12, and I was like, oh wait, so I shouldn't be coming up like this. It's like, you know, like depending on how loud I'm hitting it is how high I'm bringing it. So there's all that like motion, like, you know, he just hit me to all that stuff. And I had him play all the Tower Power songs really slow. He didn't want to do that. And I tape recorded it. I had a tape recorder. You know, like, can you play Oakland Stroke really slow? And he was like, oh. So that's really slow, but the way this one. Open stroke, baby. Yeah. Sometimes you just gotta ask somebody, can you just play that slowly, please? You know, then you take it and you have it slow and you kind of figure it out over time. Yeah. So, yeah, I'll ask your question.
Right.
Go ahead.
Was bouncing the beater off of the head something that, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, there's different ways to do it. If I'm playing quiet, I'm playing heel down. So I want control and I want volume. And I'm not really getting off. If I'm playing an open drum, like a jazz, you know, I'm gonna get off of it. This one, it kind of just sounds like one thing, so it doesn't matter what you do. But
Was that used to develop?
What's that?
Was that used to develop your technique at all when you're punching too?
Yeah. I think quietly heel down, but then I do this heel toe thing when I get up to up volume, which is basically like this. And that comes from when I broke my leg in 7th grade and I couldn't use I had a cast on, and then when I came out of the cast, I couldn't use my ankle like I used to do heel. I used to just do the ball of my foot like everyone else, you know, and I couldn't do it right. And I was frustrated, so I started just stomping with my whole foot. And then I was like, oh, I can get a double if I go. So I just kind of just put up like a tap dancer, like a shuffle step, shuffle step, shuffle step. Super easy to do that. I didn't have to really practice too much to do that with heel up or heel down. It's hard, hours, you know. But kind of that little da-da with the heel toe, it's really easy. I think it's easier. I don't know. It depends on it if you've been doing it one way or the other way. But I do it. It's a good exercise just to get your foot going. So it's still double stroke between your right hand and foot, but you're just doing to keep time with the left.